Painting human figure in watercolor can feel overwhelming. Steep shapes, awkward line, and no life on the paper. That's the struggle every beginner goes through. But here is the good news. With just a few confident brush strokes, you can turn hesitation into flow and create figures that feels alive and full of movement. In this video, I will show you the fundamental that makes all the difference. Have you ever felt stuck with your watercolor progress? That's exactly why I have created my Patreon watercolor art community. Inside, you will find a step-by-step learning journey, carefully designed to accelerate your growth week by week. This is not a random content, it's a proven roadmap where you will always know what to focus on, how to practice, and how to apply each lesson to your own art. And that's the best part. You will be learning alongside a global community of artists, sharing your progresses, asking questions, and celebrating growth together. So if you are serious about improving your watercolor skill, this is the fastest and most inspiring way forward. Join today and begin your structured journey to becoming the watercolor artist you have always wanted to be. So today I'm going to bring some of the very interesting human figure and their shapes. Now what I'll do is I will just make a very quick color here. I'll just make this the face color here, and I'm taking the orange color, and here this is the hand. So very initial wash, what we are just doing it here. Parallelly, I'm also taking the, like in this example, I'll take this this gentleman, his hair, and also you need to decide which way the light is coming from. Let's say, for example, light is coming from this side, so you'll have to leave this color, the prominent color, the other side in the first wash itself. And now let's make this guy his shirt, and also I want to have the more like a light is coming from this angle, this side, so there's a lot of light in this side, and I wanted to have I'm just leaving white paper here because I wanted to depict that this is more like a white paper, I mean white shirt he's wearing. Now let's work on his pant. So he's wearing this, and his probably the shoes here. Now see how light it is and how much time basically it takes. And I was talking about the agility. This is what I mean, the agility. You have to be just apply the color here. I mean, you no second thought, just apply it here and just see how things are actually working out. Let's work on this. There's a bag, so I'll just make this bag here as a red. Okay, even the you just enjoy the color which is actually blending all over the places here. Even if it is coming down here, that's completely fine. I mean, I see there's a lot of people, they just get hesitated saying that, oh no, you know, this color is actually blended all over these other places. That's completely fine. I mean, that's the beauty of watercolor. Okay, now this is the first wash. We have just done it quickly, right? Now let it dry. Okay, so this is another example I can just bring in here for you. Now let's paint this. If I first wash, I'm just giving you an idea how you can just do it so quickly that even your subject vanishes after some point of time. But you'll have enough time to memorize it or at least sketch it. Your color, you can just put whatever the color you want to put, but the memorizing this subject and sketching this subject is very important. Okay, so now imagine that we have just made this, and now let's make her cloth as a maybe red. Okay, it shouldn't be, whenever I'm saying red, it doesn't mean that you should always feel like everything red. I mean, it's not like that. I mean, there should be variation, and the variation comes only when you are leaving some the white visible, even if it is not there. That's a practice. You should just bring that. It should always bring some contrast in your painting when you leave the white, because the white represents its light and the contrast. And if you'll enjoy doing something like this, you'll see some interesting things are developing within your practice. So now let's make this as again, or maybe I'll just add kind of a purple sort of work. It shouldn't be too dark, at least for the first layer. Okay, and if you just start doing brushing like this, you'll see some interesting texture, and more importantly, your learning will go in a different level for sure. Okay, now let's work on her leg. Now you'll be thinking, oh, I mean, why I've just made this, because the color will all the way float here. That's fine. I mean, you taste this, right? Yeah, don't think about the proportion too much, because the moment you'll start thinking the proportion and those stuff, your subject will vanish. You will not memorize. Your memory, even things you will understand or you will learn things, but it will not be there in your memory for a long time. What was the color? What was the the shape and everything? So let's compromise sometime. It's required. Now let's make her this. Let's see, there's a lot of contrast pigment here, so I want to bring it a little down here and making things like says, just holding this. And now see, things are really, things are very contrast at the first layer itself, right? Now we got two subject to work on. Now let's work on the another figure. The power of sketching and your ability to memorize things, so those things are pretty much important. So now again, this lady says, I'll just make her hair maybe slightly golden color, and now let's work on her top. And again, I'm just I was just saying, like, leave the white wherever possible. So I just see here I've just left the white. Okay, that's completely fine. an important part you need to see is how I'm just using the brush here in this context. Whenever you are painting any cityscape or anything, you'll find this is very important, because the human shape is always like, you paint anything most of the paintings you need to deal with human shapes and things like that. Now she's also having just one bag she's holding here. Okay, let's put a little dark pigments here, and so pretty much fine. Now we can make which color? Probably I'll just go with this green. By the way, this is not exact green, this is called horizon green. There was some Indian green as well, so that's a sap green is different thing. That's my favorite color, sap green. But in this example we are just using this. So okay, so this is something in a very fast, the agility I was talking about, that should be there all the time. Now let's work on her leg again in this figure as well, and she's just walking here. Perfectly fine. This is enough. I mean, you don't need to just detail out everything until you really want, right? So this is your first wash. These all are your first wash, and I think this is dry, so we can just work on here the second layer. I'll tell you by the time these all things also get dry. But let me come back to this person and how you can go with a second layer and how fast you can work on. Even if, see, when I say you should work fast, it doesn't mean that you have to. It's just like whatever the pace you wanted to paint, you can just do it, but your intention should be there that one day you want to reach to this level. Okay, so that's the intent you should have. Okay, now let's work on the second layer for this guy. So I'm using the darker pigment of this here, and I don't want to take much time in any of these. Okay, so this is the hair, and now let me just work on his face. Some pigment here and there. Okay, and this is his mouth, etc. For him the light is coming from this side, so most of the things will be a little darker this side. Okay, now this one we will have these texture, these shades, whatever you call it here, very little. We don't want to make too much of work in this one. So here all I'm just doing here is to just bring some darker and the lighter pigments here. That's the kind of a negotiation with the lighter and darker pigments here into this. Now this one is holding this bag, probably will have this pigments here, and some darker pigments here in this section, maybe his belt and all that. And now we will go with the same color here, but very darker. So the color I'm just using is the sap green, sorry, sepia. So that is the color of this, and I'll use the same color pigments for this. And remember, we use the red here on this, and it's which is actually flown. So at this time we can also use the red, a bit of red, so we'll have some interesting texture on this. Okay, so now we can make this portion a little darker, so it shows that there is a curve. Okay, so that's actually popped out here in this section, and it shows basically just popped out here. Okay, all I'm just trying to do here is getting the proper amount of light and depth, so that's the intent. Okay, so you see here things are become more and more interesting in this side. Now we have make this as a this bag is basically is holding here, and we got a good amount of the dark pigments here in this section, so that's complete. I mean, this is fairly good to go. We don't need to make too many of the patches here and there, so we'll make a few patches later once this will get dry, but as of now this is completely fine to go. I mean, this is completely fine. Now you see here how we just got this entire, his complete posture, is walking kind of a little fast, how we got this contrast here, we got some contrast here, right? These things once it get dry, so we'll also apply a very basic the darker pigments to get this completed. Okay, now come back to this particular figure. Now for her I'll use the same process. The initial, oh sorry, I mean I shouldn't, that's the reason. I mean, you should not go complete opposite color. If it is a blue, then I'll take a slightly darker version of the blue, but it should be blue. Okay, now this is what we need. Okay, so she's wearing the cap here. All right, now let's work on her, probably the hair. That's fine. And now on her cloth, probably we can just add, because the light is coming from this side, sorry, this light is coming from this side. That's the reason we have just given here the darker pigment. Actually we shouldn't give it, because that's this becomes so important, because we earlier decided that the light is coming from this side, so that's the reason I just kept it light here. But I just forgot it, because I just forgot to have these darker pigments here, but that's fine. I mean, we can make these decisions. We can just say like, okay, no, the light is not coming from this this side, light is coming from this side, so I can just go ahead and make a patches here, these contrast things here on this side. But these things should be consciously, you have to take a call, because that's the This is the things which creates your painting. It creates the entire base of your artwork. So be a little more cautious about that, from where, especially the light, where the light is coming from. That's the most important part. Okay, now this is fine. I will add a very little darker pigments here and there, not much. Okay, and now I can go with on her frock here. Maybe there is some design, etc. So that also we can just bring in here some pattern which is there on her cloth, so that we can just bring in here. Okay, so something like this, make some design. You really don't need to, do a lots of work, to get these design, available. It's just idea. You are just giving an idea that, okay, that's some design might be. I'm not going with a complete detail of it, so that sort of things you should be aware of. Now probably this side will have her leg. Now we're just making this pigments, usage of these pigments, how you want to use it. Sometimes some pigments are so hard, so big that these things you'd have to mop that out sometime. So we'll just make a little more stroke here and we are pretty good. Once it dry, we'll get to know more about this. Okay, now let's work on her last thing is the bag she's carrying. Okay, so we got this. Now I'm just hoping that you're seeing how things are actually evolving, right? So with a very fast brush strokes, you can just do it in your piece as well, but this is how basically I'm just trying to explain how things should be placed into this. If you wanted to have some interesting texture, you can just do that too, doing something like this, so you'll have some good texture into this. Okay, now I'm just coming back to this character, this shape. So this is the upper side. We need to have some bit of depth here. Okay, and so we can have the color, the seeds, all of that here on this. Okay, I'll just mop the extra water and I'm also just giving us some pigments here and there, whichever because the light is coming, it's understood that for everyone the light is coming from this side, right? Let's make these things more clear. So for this side, see, we'll have a very little light on this side. Okay, now look at the approach. I'm just taking it here, just somewhere wherever it's required. I'm just giving a bit of light and depth, just playing around that. That's basically, I'm just working on here. Okay, no much work, just simple text, simple brush strokes wherever it is required. Okay, and now let's work on her. I'm just taking this sap green and making the same strokes which we have just made it here. So maybe some stroke because of her hand, the seeds are coming here. Okay, maybe we can have some text, some pattern on her cloth like this. So actually we are creating the variation into your painting, so it shouldn't look like very monotonous, having the same, everybody is wearing the same color or same pattern. So basically we just try to bring some differentiation, right? So this is how basically we can just bring that everything here. Now for her, this bag, we can just make something like this. Alright, so I think pretty good. Her one hand, so it's just going something like this for her hand, and for this nose and all, making things a little more clear what the shape. Sometimes it just doesn't go the way you want. So I'm just removing everything here. Okay, and so almost we done it. You got some light here, some depth, things like that. Once this get dry, we can also apply some more pattern or some more patches here and there. That will just like make maybe her okay, so something like this, right? This is the end of the second layer, and just see how things are actually evolved right from the first layer. So I think this is the approach you should be taking when you paint human shapes. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, I'm inviting you to join my watercolor art community. This community where you want to be, because you will be meeting a similar mindset of people and the same values and the same vision what you have, and you will also have a very structured watercolor learning week by week. And it's not just about the watercolor, it's more about making a connection, making a real connection with a similar mindset of people. And I'm seeing a lot of people, they are improving, they are going from one level to another level, and this is how their progress is happening in this platform. So I'm inviting you to join this global watercolor art community, and I'm sure you're going to like it. And I'll see you next video very soon. You can watch this particular video for you, and if you wanted to be part of this Patreon watercolor art community, you can join this community clicking on this. Thank you so much and have a great day.